Another thing you've been noticing is how politicians are finally, just a little bit though, finally admitting to reality. That yes, they did drugs. Yes, they smoked pot. Yes, they maybe did some other illegal drugs as well. Finally, instead of holding back like, oh no, I didn't inhale. Remember Bill Clinton saying that he smoked, but somehow he didn't inhale. Till finally, and it took all the way to Obama to say, yeah, I did. And there you go. That's what the deal is to finally say, yeah, I smoke pot, just like over 45 million of you Americans are doing every day. And millions more of you did do at some point. Get over it. We're all in it. This is how pervasive it is. This is the reality is you do drugs. Now, even right now, folks, a whole chunk of people who are out there, maybe some that are crying about, oh, keep prohibition in place. A lot of them are drug addicts right now. We have legalized drug addicts operating in the society right now. All you tobacco users, all you tobacco smokers, those are drug addicts. They're addicted to nicotine. There they are. We take it for granted. And they're out there doing jobs of all types and doing okay. Now, sure, it's really silly that they're smoking at all because, smoking is definitely tied to, 24 different cancers? As well as a whole bunch of other health problems that get in the way just because you smoke tobacco. And, of course, it's very toxic for everybody around you because when you smoke the thing and you blow out the smoke, the way tobacco products are made, they're not really all that much tobacco. There are a lot of cancerous additives, really wacko stuff that's in there. You can get a list of them. It's over 400? Different chemicals are in there. So when they smoke it, that becomes a chemical mix that when it's exhaled is a toxic bubble of poison. And it sticks to clothes, it sticks to the furniture, inside your car. A lot of you go over and buy a used car and you say, wait a minute, was this guy a smoker? And you don't buy it because the guy was a smoker in the car, because it's ridiculous how much it costs to try and get rid of the toxicity of that tobacco that has permeated the inside of a car. Same as you people who had to get a place and you find out the house or apartment, the person before you was a tobacco smoker. Same deal. Throughout the whole apartment, and usually really bad in one area where they just, sat on the recliner and smoked a cigarette. Well, right above there, and the walls right around there, there's this gooey mess that's adhered to the ceiling and walls. And if you're going to live in there, that's what you're breathing as well. Toxic stuff. So anyway, a lot of people are addicted to something already and functioning in society, as well as look at the idea that if all these people have smoked pot and they've done some amount of cocaine a little here and there, they became addicted, or they didn't. Plenty of you didn't. Same with alcohol or any of them. Well then, that's reality. To have a politician still sitting around trying to, obviously had smoked pot, obviously did, and try and lie to us about such a petty-ass thing, when all he's trying to do is just trying to be, fit this political propaganda, picture of being, oh no, he's a saintly person, he didn't smoke pot. Oh gosh. Even might go to church once a week, or what do they do, maybe once a month, what is it? Yeah, geez. Married just once, oh gosh. Yeah, a lot of these have just gone out the window. Nobody cares. That's not important. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are you doing about all this poison and pollution that you're generating because of this economic system? And this runaway allowance of corporations, chemical plants, all types, to dump all sorts of poisons into our water, our air, our land. Because the fact is, as you know, you are first, not a corporation. Not a corporation. Corporations can't use your water and then pump it out and it's filled with all their toxic crap, their waste. That's insane. That's our water. You don't pollute our water. Same with the air, the atmosphere, everything we all breathe. For you, your kids, generations all around us. They don't get to pump poisonous crap and toxins into our air. It's our air first. If they want to stay in business, they can't emit toxicity into our atmosphere, into our water. They can't leave pesticides and pollution residue on our food. Because the first thing is it's our food. They're just a business enterprise that is producing the food for us. But the end game is not that company. The end game is you. The food. That's your food. You're the important thing. So your food doesn't come to you to the grocery store with still pesticide residue and other toxins still in residue on it. And you're supposed to take it home and wash it off and clean off their mess. That's insane. That's insane system. It's about us first. Businesses do what we want, or they're not in business. They do what's good for us, or they're not in business. And we're just more savvy, more intelligent about all of our environmental concerns, rightly so, and thinking of us, not only us, but our kids, and the reality of life on Earth. You don't go peeing in the very place that you're going to eat from. You don't go out and pee on your tomato plants or poop on your tomato plants and then smear it around in there and then take it inside and eat. Well, you don't do that to the whole planet. You don't allow anybody to poison our planet. The worst criminals are easy to say. Beside the obvious murderers and rapists type of thing, of course, it's anything, individuals or businesses in particular, that poison our air, our water, our food. That's everybody. You know who's poisoned? You poison the whole planet's air. You poison the whole planet's water supply. That's insane to have such an economic system that allows that. That's part of the change here in the 21st century. We recognize this whole thing. Look, you've got to get over this drug hysteria thing. You got to run the business. There is a business. Right now, you don't run it. And that's really stupid because there's billions and billions and billions of profits being made by criminal enterprises. Year after year. You've got to run it. Drugs are, it's a fact of life. You're trying to deny human nature that has been in human nature forever in our history. And it makes sense. So instead, we manage the business, not criminal enterprise. That's what it comes down to. And because of that, we get the oversight, control, age access. We educate and say, what is all this, or these different things? What do they do? What's too much? What's the whole point? And what is your responsibility to all of us for you having that access? And you got a lot more responsibility. But that comes with legalization, which is 21st century reality, and it's definitely sanity. So finally, you're just starting to finally get maybe they're younger, maybe everybody's just growing up a little bit, and some even politicians are finally just saying, yeah, that's right, I used drugs when I was a kid, sure. In fact, I used drugs up all the way. And finally, somebody's going to say, yeah, I smoke pot and I'm still smoking pot. I like it. So what? And that's the extent of it is. So what? Here's what's important. Here's what the agenda is. Here's the political and legislative direction we need to go. That's the important stuff. All that was just, built into the indoctrination of the policy of prohibition is to make it, you can't admit that. You can't admit that you did that. You won't get elected. Even though millions and millions of people out there are doing the same thing. And enjoying it, and like it, and know that it's okay. That's crazy. 21st century, you're coming more into that reality. We're throwing out the myth of all the stupid stuff of religion from all those dark age religions. Because all their myths have just been used to justify repression. The repression of homosexuals. The repression of women. Even the excuses to justify murder and mayhem against others because of their religion. Well, that day's over with. We see through all that crap. We see what a dismal mess it is. Now, unfortunately, of course, you probably get it too, those religions would find very hard to update to the 21st century because their whole thing's built on myth. They have to make dramatic adjustments to all these scaredy cats, and there's a good number of them. They're either very ignorant or really scaredy cats, kind of bitter people generally, and repressive, attitude. Everything's to be repressed, denied. Those type of people, Christian right-wing wackos right now in America, for example. And those type of people, when the religions have to grow up and come into the 21st century, they got to give up all that stuff and admit all that stuff was myth. It was made up. There is no creation myth worth keeping around as anything like it was valid. Oh, geez, yeah, sure, there was this big perfect place. It was like a garden. It really was. And there was this big guy, and really big guy. He looked like us, and he made this other guy. See, and no, they weren't homosexual, I don't think, but that's a good question. But on top of it, the guy that he made, the big guy had to make it just goes on and on and on, and it's all fraud. It's all made up. It's a myth. And unfortunately, it's also been used to justify repression of women. The myth. You got to let that go in the 21st century. That don't fly. And all those old toga and sandals religions got it. Doesn't matter if it's Islam. They put people in bags. They put women in bags to walk around. No, that's religious. It looks like obvious repression of women. Obviously, that's what it is. You got it in Christian wackoness with this thing about, their creation myth stuff. You got it in Judaism. You got it in Hinduism. They all got them. And for the 21st century, all that has to be just kind of let go, say, that's kids' stories. All right, the people were pretty stupid back then. They didn't know crap about anything. And so they just made it up. They didn't know what a flood was. They didn't know what a volcano was. They didn't know much about anything. And everything was mysterious because of it. Think of it. Everything would seem like, wow. And so, of course, they got it wrong. They just made it up, but they just got it wrong. They made up the God thing. There isn't any God. There never was. And so they made up all these other stories to go along with it. Well, see, there's our God, there's one God. Yeah, we have one. And all those other people, they might have 50 or 25 or 100 gods, who knows. Well, all of them are wrong. It's only our one God, see. And, this God, he's got some parameters. You got to fit your whole living and your life within these parameters, or, you're in trouble. Oh, gosh. You're going to die. And you won't find out until after you die, on top of it. Ludicrous stuff. And folks, that's crazy. That's just made up, obviously. And it was just to manipulate you into behavior, into controlled behavior. The big scaredy thing. Oh, you don't do that, boy. When you die, oh gosh, you're in trouble. Oh gosh. Yeah, oh. And so it put a pretty big fear in a lot of people, obviously. They built as you see it in Europe, they built all these beautiful, huge cathedrals out of stone. Using hand tools and everything to make these huge things, all built on myth. It's pretty amazing. Well, in the 21st century, see, can they come up to the 21st century where it says, look, 21st century is science is okay. Yeah, the earth is probably 3 billion years old, like they figure out. Because they actually looked at the earth. They actually studied the earth. They actually dug in there and got into the chemistry and made analysis of it. What did you do? And the guy goes, well, we just had our book of ignorant people who didn't know anything. And that's what you're supposed to believe? As valid? So, of course, you throw that out. So we just say science is okay. There it is. Because the science actually is looking at things. Actually looking, investigating all of it. Instead of living with these myths, fabrications, foolish little stories. 21st century, see, can those old religions come up to that? Women, total equal rights. Equal rights, it has to be there. Every religion, yeah, women are the same. Women are fine. No, women are fine. Catholic Church, well, yeah, women can be a pope. Woman could be a, what do they call those things? Deacon or minister or some type, They can do that too. Every religion, women are equal. Same with homosexuals. Yeah, homosexuals have been around for a long time, Even back in the old day when those 2,000 years ago. So you can't rely on those, people from 2,000 years ago who were scared of everything, didn't know anything, made it all up. Well, can those religions now that you've been hearing them squawking, here in America, it's all these Christian nuts, and they're all going, oh, it says so in our book, repress homosexuals. Oh, geez, yeah, oh, God. See, can they come up to the 21st century and say, all right, that was all made, that was a mistake, that was all made up, yep, homosexuals, same, all right, equal rights too. That's what they got to do, come into the 21st century. No myths. Science is okay. Equal rights for homosexuals, equal rights for women. A view that we are truly all together on this planet, human beings, obvious. We all need clean air, clean water. We all need good, healthy food. We all need health care. Some amount of health. And throughout your life, you're going to need some amount of health care. It comes with the territory. It's a pre-existing condition because you were human. Now, if the pre-existing condition was this example of corporations, fabricating things, language, to justify not paying what they claimed they were supposed to be doing. So these health insurance companies, totally made up entity, don't need them at all, completely throw them out. That's a 21st century thing too. Completely don't need. All you need is health care. You all pay into it. You all get it. That's it. No health insurance at all. No insurance. Insurance for what? Nothing. Get it out of there. Boop. But these health insurance companies, made this stuff up. One of them was, well, we can't really. You're paying us all this $100, hundreds and hundreds of bucks a month for your stuff. But you got that condition, and that's a pre-existing condition. So that means we don't have to pay you. We're not covering that. They just made it up, folks. So it didn't have to. And a lot of people suddenly fell into that whole spectrum of, well, what is a pre-existing condition? Because you find out that human species, they got a lot of, nicks and odds and eeks and mud that happen in just being born, and the physical structure they got, and the anatomy that they have, and the internal organs that they got, and some are needing a little help. Right from the get-go. Because that's the reality of humanity. This whole fabricated thing of pre-existing condition to justify that they didn't pay out any money. They just took your money month after month because, you need insurance. Oh, geez, you can't get health care without insurance. Oh, geez, no. No, they made it up. Of course you get health care. You don't need an insurance company. You're American, are you? Well, you paid into the system. You all pay into the system, and boom, you get health care. That's how it goes. That's 21st century. Now, all these things about this in particular, so it flows, you can see it flows from not just religion anymore. It very easily goes into a change in economics that goes along with this 21st century intelligence. It's pretty simple to see. That system that you've been running on all the way up until even the time pretty much of this recording is based on poison and pollution. All for profit. Profit. Profit is the motive. Profit is the only measure of success. Profit. So, of course, when that is, you make it cheap. You make it poisonous. It doesn't matter. Because, you put it out there and you made money. You made a profit. And it kept going. So, of course, you end up doing just where we are now. You overpopulate the whole planet because of the stupidity of religion saying, oh, babies, 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 baby. Oh, you got to have babies. No birth control. No abortion. Oh, geez, no. Oh, gosh. And you're so stupid you just overpopulate yourself based on Dark Age religions. And you get poisoned and polluted to death because of the economics that has been pumping and pumping on you saying, oh, it's all about profit. That's all it is. You just got to make a profit. Don't care really what you do. Poison the whole place. You make a profit, you're okay. In that system, you're okay. And that's what you've done. And that's insane. Poison, pollute the whole planet. The very thing you rely on, all of us rely on to keep living. And you poison and pollute the place? That's really stupid. Let alone, it's so stupid, I must be delusional people. They must have been insane. 21st century. Economics and religion. And see, those old Dark Age religions, they can't, probably, just think of it, they can't upgrade. They can't give women, all these Christian wackos in America anyway, they can't give women the complete freedom of her equality. Why, she'd have, on her own discretion, she'd use birth control. It'd be up to her. And if she didn't want it, it'd be up to her to decide if she's going to have an abortion or not. Not the religion. Religion couldn't tell her anything. Couldn't force her to do anything. How about that? See, religion can't do that. Those Dark Age men, they're all about control. Can they come up and admit that women are equal? Can they come up and admit that, yes, homosexuals are equal? Equal rights, equal rights. Can they come up and admit, yeah, science is okay? That's right. They actually look. They actually look and investigate and study versus these religions that do nothing but rely on Dark Age stupid people from 2,000 years ago who didn't know anything. So come on. It's time for that change no matter what. If it takes a whole new religion, now's the time. And I'm putting it out there that societyofsacredflowers.org, you can find it, is starting out saying, we're a 21st century religion. Because just what you've been hearing here, and this is what the society is stating. Now there's the whole mandate thing or whatever is there to read, societyofsacredflowers.org. And then you're hearing it on this podcast and the rationale for it. And it's making sense to you because you're there too. It's not a surprise. You get it. You're 21st century. You don't believe any of that mythic stuff. You see the disaster that this economic system has been, what do you call it? It's just mind-boggling. It's destructiveness. And that system that it was. And the politics, the politicians basically here in America, Republicans, who have kept that poison and pollution going in the denial of environmental contamination. Denial of instituting legislation that puts it back to you. So we have more about clean air, clean water rights for you. Republicans have blocked those things. They keep voting for the polluters. Just look how they vote. So it spills over. The new religion, you see, is pretty 21st century. Broad. Because we're in that digital worldwide reality. We're out of the myth. We're into what we know now. What the history we know. That we've seen the cause and effect of. We're over that old stuff. We get it. You don't keep going down that road, it only gets worse. The same with religion. No, you keep holding on to these ridiculous myths and their obvious repressive use and what they're actually made for. Control, or diminishment, repression. Can't keep going down there either. You were wandering someone in the dark, but it was coming toward the dawn. And sure enough, that son of 21st century intelligence came over the horizon and burned off that dark ignorance. And you're there. You get it. That's the 21st century. We always say, you've come out of the dark. You're in the light. You are the light.